Welcome back to this edition of the podcast.
We're
Today,
doing a football podcast, yet we watch.
why
We do nothing. We know nothing about football because I can barely hold a 10-minute conversation about football.
YWC Football Talks is what we're calling this. You may have heard of other podcasts with a similar name, but we have an S on the end of ours, which makes
Russell
it
Wilson as my quarterback. This is a terrible team.
Russell Wilson. Okay, so Justin is currently drafting on fantasy football. He doesn't watch football. He doesn't care about football, but he's drafting fantasy football.
I do watch football. I do care about football. I'm actually more invested in football now over the past 3 years because I've been doing fantasy actually the past 4 years.
So is that kind of got you
What's
into it?
funny? I joined Breach's stupid pick'em league.
There you
First
go.
year, beat everybody. Canada
remember.
bids. And then I was like, I'm out of here.
So is that what got you like more invested in football? Like as a kid, did you care about football?
No. So this is the story of how I got into football. I was at my friend's house and we're playing Madden. And I picked the Patriots. I'm like, oh, this is a good team because the overall score was high, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Beat them. And I was like, I like this team. So then I started watching football when it was on. It was on Fox or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Watch games here and there. I'm like, oh, this is my team now. I like the Patriots. I didn't know the Patriots are from Boston. Thought they're from New England because, a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there you go. There's my OG story. By the way, everyone's like, did you like the Patriots before Tom Brady won Super Bowl? No, because I never watched football until I played Madden. And then when I played Madden, I picked the Patriots and I beat everybody. So I'm like, this is my team. This is why I picked the Patriots. No other reason. And by the way, when I picked them, they didn't win a Super Bowl till like 2015.
So in a way, like, it's just been the past few years because now you post about it on social media and stuff like that on Instagram.
Yeah,
get those.
I used to watch when I joined when I met Miguel and Breach and all that, I started watching Red Zone more often versus like actual games. So literally Sundays I'll watch Red Zone because I was in the Pick'em League and I'm like, oh, now that I'm in the Pick'em League, I care about more of these other games and I'm playing with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
See, for me, so I guess like since you told your story, I'll tell my story. So like when I was super, super little, I might have been like, I don't know, like 4 or 5. I had a cousin who he was a big Green Bay Packers fan, and he had a bunch of jerseys and sweatpants and like whatever. He had a bunch of stuff, and so somewhere or another, like I mean me and like my cousin were just like close when we were little, just because I thought he was like the coolest person ever. I see pictures of him and he's got like WCW shirts and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, why didn't you get me into wrestling, back then? Anyway, so I just have all these pictures of me like as a little kid, like in Packers stuff. And like I would always wear like the Favre jersey he gave me. And I just became a Packers fan through that. And so when I'd say around middle school, is when I really got into watching football on TV. When the what's it called? The Bears were in the Super Bowl against the Colts in 2006, and we had a Super Bowl party, and that was like if the Bears are playing the Packers, then I hate the Bears. But like the Bears just as a team, like as long as they lose all the time, it doesn't affect me. And now that like there's a Barstool Chicago, like I want the Packers to win, but if they put out good content when the Bears win, then by all means, you know what I mean? So it's like a company thing. Like, if the Bears are successful, then I think then it helps that the company. So it's like a back and forth thing. But then like I think in college, I, yeah, like the freshman year of college was the point where if there was a Packers game on, I would like have to sit down on the TV and watch the whole game. I couldn't move from the TV. You know what I mean? Like I just needed to see what would happen. And now I'm like that with pretty much any sports that my team is in. So that's how like that kind of became a thing. I remember the one night in my dorm in freshman year, you and Breach were on Skype with me. They were playing the Detroit Lions, and there was that last second Hail Mary.
Oh my God, I remember that. I went to work right after.
I was like jumping up and down. Like, thank God I was on the on the bottom floor because I was going nuts. I did not expect that to happen. Um, but I remember I was really obsessed with the story of the Patriots going undefeated in like 2007. Um,
Heartbreaking loss.
that was pretty wild. And then
And then they
obviously
run it back in 2011. Another heartbreaking loss.
and then 2010 season, Packers won the Super Bowl. Got that great picture of Clay Matthews with the World Heavyweight Championship. Got a bunch of like I got all the gimmicks for that. And
Was
then
it 2011?
what?
Was it 2011?
It was the 2011 Super Bowl, but it was the 2010-2011 season.
Gotcha.
Um, so then I'd say like in 20 okay, so 2014 is the point where I like kind of started to know some of the other players, um, other than like the popular ones like Randy Moss, Peyton Manning, because 2014 Topps Chrome Football, I bought like I probably spent like $1,000 on Topps Chrome Football, and it was just like I knew all that. I knew all, the whole rookie class: Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, who I found out was from the Illinois area, actually like not too far from where I'm at. Khalil Mack, Mark Cooper. Like I knew that class really well just from opening the cards. And then like a couple of years go by, and like 2016 it was like the last time I opened kind of football cards. And then after that, I just kind of like took a break, I guess. And I'm mad that I did because 2017 you had Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky, and like those were like the two main quarterbacks. And you had Patrick Mahomes, and I knew Patrick Mahomes because he got drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs, which I was obviously in the area, and I never like stopped hearing about this Patrick Mahomes guy ever,
I
like
remember
from the moment he got
Miguel
drafted.
in his Miguel's fantasy league. I forgot to get up and do fantasy draft, so I got Patrick Mahomes in my team. I didn't know who he was.
What
He's
year?
getting all these fantasy points. What a steal! No one knew
What
about him.
year?
Whatever his debut breakout year that he was just killing it. Was that his first year?
That might have been the second year
Was it?
because I feel like there was somebody like he might have gotten some like a couple plays, or he might have had a couple games in 2017. I don't remember,
I
but I
guess it was
remember.
2018 season maybe then.
So I remember in the 2018 season, the Chiefs were at home and they were playing against the 49ers. And I was like, oh, like that would be cool to go to like my first NFL game, see Jimmy Garoppolo play. And, like I didn't know, like I knew Patrick Mahomes was like good because obviously like I couldn't get rid of Patrick Mahomes. And at some point I was like, you know what, like should I just buy like a jersey and a shirt or something? Because this dude, like obviously, is a big deal here. So I was like, all right, this guy must mean something. I wish I would have bought a bunch of his rookie cards um, you know, before they became so expensive, because then obviously we know what happened. 49ers, Chiefs Super Bowl, and then Chiefs win this year. So now the rookie cards are just insane. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like this season is going to be weird. And I'm talking to Justin about football, so it's kind of like he's just listening and going in one ear and out the other. But
I know people are, dude. Ever since I started playing fantasy, I figured out who everyone is.
there you go. But last year was kind of
So,
like a weird year.
like football players. I don't know. You just stuck on your one team and you want to figure out what the this cat bit me, dude.
That's amazing.
Get out of
Shout out to that cat. That cat gets a beef. You were
here.
saying?
How? You stopped the podcast?
No, no, no. I didn't stop the podcast. I just said
Oh,
that cat gets a beef.
I was saying
You were saying.
if you want to learn about football players, just do fantasy draft. You'll find out pretty quick, especially when you start dealing with points and whatever. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
what the hell is this guy doing? Was he not catching?
Oh, Rusev just debuted on Dynamite, dude.
And on that note, we're out of here.
No, no, no. We're not out of here.
Bye. This is
Why? No,
football. We're not talking about Rusev.
no, we're not going to talk about Rusev. I just popped. Okay, so you were saying about the football thing. You got bit by the cat.
I'm saying if you want to learn about football, just do a fantasy draft and figure out. Because after that one season, you'll figure out who's good and who's not.
What do you think the Patriots are going to do this year? You think
9-6.
Cam Newton's going to do something for him?
Oh yeah.
You really think so?
Yeah.
I was thinking like, I don't know. I think he can definitely like, if he plays like he once did. I feel like the past couple of years he's just been whatever.
I feel like if he plays, it's like when Kawhi came to the Raptors. Okay, everyone was like, "What is this guy? This guy's injury prone. Whatever." Cam's gonna show up. He's gonna play. He's gonna lead the Patriots and go get a big deal somewhere else. And for him to do that, he has to kill it this year. That's why.
Do you like Tom Brady enough where you want the Bucks to succeed?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Because what?
I'm still a little salty.
Really?
A little bit.
Okay, I don't know. I just was wondering.
Mike Evans goes hard in the paint. Yeah, I'll be happy because that card value goes up.
I was gonna say, yeah, the rookie patch. I know Phil's got a 1-of-1 of Mike Evans. They got the Brady Bucks shirts and the Mahomes Chiefs shirts at one of my stores nearby. I'm just gonna like go buy them both, like just for the heck of it. You know what I mean? I should have bought a Mahomes shirt in Kansas City. But what was I gonna say? Who do you think's gonna win the Super Bowl this year?
I'm going to go with not the Chiefs because it's too obvious. I'm gonna go with the Saints.
The Saints? Okay, I could see that. That would be Saints and Chiefs. I know Matt Beast. He predicted Saints and Chiefs. So that would be a close, that would be a close game. Drew Brees. I think he'll win another one. Hey, Phil, 1 second. Okay, I got Phil on speaker. Phil, so you're currently on the YWC Football Talks podcast with me and Justin. I just want to know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Yes.
Patriots, duh. No, I'm just kidding.
You know that Phil as good as well as I do.
I don't think they're going to win, but the only person I can actually predict to win is the Chiefs.
Okay.
I think the Chiefs. I actually don't think they're going to do it, but
you don't think they're going to go back to back?
Right now. I don't like if you're asking me like my honest opinion, I don't think they do it.
Okay.
But I think the only team that you can actually pick to do it is them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Like I don't think to me I think it's someone else ends up getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Saints, the Bucks, even maybe the Pats. I know that's a wild card, but out there. Maybe even the Ravens to get it together. But I just don't. I think the only one you can actually pick to win, like the clear favorites, are the Chiefs.
Okay.
I just think being that much of a favorite never really works in your favor. So I think the Chiefs get there and lose to whoever's in the NFC side of it. But
dark horse.
Wait, who's your dark horse to win, Justin?
My dark horse to win the whole thing would be the Saints. The Saints. I mean, that's not a huge dark horse, but I think the Saints have had so much bad luck.
Tell Phil to look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
Them overcoming it in the playoffs and getting it done.
Justin said, "Who would have thought?" Not me.
Because I picked the Saints.
Justin also picked the Saints before he called you. So who would have thought?
See? Yeah, exactly.
Look at us.
Exactly.
No, I
think if that's the team, that's the team I could see it do a run and not surprise me at all. I mean, obviously you could go with I don't think the Bucks do it in the first year. I think that they would be my favorites for next year. But I mean, based on what they do this year, obviously, but right off the top right now. But I would actually think the Saints beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl would be probably my prediction right now. But.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to have someone who actually knows stuff about football. Because the joke was that this podcast was going to be like a riff off of Griff's, and like you're a regular on Griff's podcast, so I figured we needed to have Phil on here. So, all right, well, Phil, take care, and thanks for being on the podcast. And
you know it, I'll listen to it for sure.
Sounds good. See you, Phil.
And real quick, while you're on here, you people, don't be stupid and watch the ESPN. Like I don't know if anybody saw that, but the stupid ESPN generated computer whatever. If you think the Pats are going to go 5-11, you're going to be very highly.
Yeah, that's wild.
Just so you know, that's not the only bad take, but and then the Jags winning 3 games. I don't know where you get those 3 games from. That was another bad take, but anyways, I just wanted to throw that there.
There we go. All right.
Folks listening right now.
Did I say 9-6? Sorry, I meant 10-6.
I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
And,
Everton once again.
There we go. So there we go. I need to fill on because he's a regular on the YWC Talk podcast, Football Talk podcast. This is the YWC Football Talks podcast. Everybody have fun.
And the Green Bay Packers are going 9-7.
I'll tell you what, Justin, and this will be the last thing we'll finish up here. Last year, before the season started, or maybe it was like after the season before that, Tommy tweeted, Tommy told me, he was like, the Packers aren't going to contend next year. And I said, you know what? Tweet that and at me. So he tweeted like, hey, at me, the Packers suck and they're not going to contend next year. Guess what? They went to the NFC Championship game. We don't have to talk about what happened in the game, but I hold it over Tommy's head any chance that I get. So I wanted to include that in there. I actually think that the Bears are going to be good. I was just telling Tommy, I think that Packers-Bears final game of the regular season, I think that might be for the division, like for the NFC North. So that's a bold prediction coming out at the end of this podcast, some actual football talk. If you want to hear real football talk, you can go check out Griff's podcast. We're not going to link it, but if you know, you know. You know what I mean, Justin?
Go to just search YWC Football Talk.
Yeah. I don't think anyone has YWC Football Talk except for Griff. So I made the logo. I think for this podcast, Justin, which we should upload on Thursday because tomorrow's the first day of the season, I will add an S to the end of YWC Football Talk so it could be actually YWC Football Talks, like the name of this podcast. Thanks for listening. Enjoy football this season. Enjoy it while you got it. And tune in tomorrow for a college football preview.
Hell, it's even worse than our football talk.
We'll talk to you again in the next one.
Here's about college football, dude.